up already. He don't even know how to hit the start button.
There you go.
I swear to God, man. It's hard working with black people. I love black people.
Okay, fine.
But it's hard working with you motherfuckers because y'all don't do shit on time. And I'm really not want to talk because my tell me that I'm late all the time.
So,
let
me see something.
What you doing with your
this?
Oh,
okay. What do you say?
I thought I didn't know I thought I could turn my camera sideways, but apparently it still looks the same. Okay.
Welcome to the most recent episode, because I don't know which one this is. Is this 11 or 12?
This is 11.
This is 11. This is 11th episode of the Dude Talk Shit podcast.
Wait a minute. It's 11 or 12. I'm not sure, but it's whatever.
We're in the double digits. Let's put it that way. And
okay. Once again, this is the 11th or 12th episode of Dudes Talk Shit that was supposed to come on at 10 o'clock and is not being broadcast at 10:14 because Trump.
You can blame that on The Walking Dead. I'm sorry.
When The Walking Dead came back on tonight?
Yeah.
That's what I was watching, fool. The season premiere was tonight.
Oh, fuck. I didn't even know. I thought it was next weekend.
I didn't know.
I catch it.
Yeah, you can come back on at 12 o'clock.
Yeah, well, we'll be off and I'll go upstairs and I'll watch that shit.
So now you understand why.
Well, I was watching Doctor Who, so I don't care.
Well, it seems like every time you go live, we go live, your signal get worse.
It's Fatcast. We expect. I had nothing to do with that.
Well, Trump was late getting here because
The Walking Dead.
Masturbation issue. You know, when he masturbated too much, his shoulder cramp up, so he had to go ahead. And get that massage down.
This is a fool, man. Hey, when I talk, does it show up on y'all camera when I talk?
Yeah.
Okay, because it's not showing up here. TJ's horrific technical engineering skills is,
Who's my shit fine.
Okay, well, go ahead. Well, let's go.
Okay. Yeah,
first generation iPod.
Yes, it's you guys.
iPad you working on, motherfucker. Don't jump out there on me. I'm with the shits today. Well, I'm.
Me too.
But I'm really with the shits tonight.
Me too. Trust me, I'm with it. All the way with it.
So, Brian, let us bring you up to speed. First, most importantly, Trump ain't got you no woman yet. He lied to me on Tuesday night.
I've been busy.
Said he had somebody lined up.
I've been busy.
But she didn't get parole, so
okay. That's one of them.
Gotta wait till the next hearing. I'm going to pilot this shit tonight.
Okay.
Trump had an experience today. He brought it to my attention, and it immediately pissed me off. Trump posted something on his social media today. It was a woman with some magnificent thighs, manicured. She had her legs crossed. And I'm going to read what Trump said.
You read the original one, I said.
But when you're dealing with motherfuckers that don't get together on time, you tend to forget shit.
Read the original one.
Trump said in the text, I'm gonna show y'all what it is. Can you see it?
Yeah, I see it.
Oh, gorgeous legs, right? So it said, don't do this around me, Lord Jesus. Lord Jesus. Sexy cross legs, my weakness. I will end you. Hashtag in a good way. Hashtag I got problem. Hashtag old pervert.
That's not the original one.
Hashtag so what?
That's not the original one.
That's not the original one.
The original one says exactly that. Don't do this around me. Lord weakness, you might get Kavanaugh.
Oh, that I saw. That I remembered.
That was the original one. That's what I posted originally. So in posting that, this chick got insulted, or she felt some kind of way because I put Kavanaugh in there, and it implied that I was embracing the rape culture.
That's not. She didn't imply shit. She said,
"Yeah."
So you're saying you'll rape women? I want to make sure I understand your pulse.
Right. When that shit had nothing to do with raping anybody. Not from my point.
But those of you that don't understand you have a school of, debating principles called fallacies, logical fallacies. And this one is what you would call a non sequitur. And a non sequitur is defined as a conclusion or statement that does not logically follow from the previous argument or statement. The question is, how in the fuck did you get "I'll rape a woman" from that?
Thank you.
What could possibly have been an insensitive joke?
Right. I agree to that.
She lit a fire under it, basically saying that you would rape a woman. And see, you pussy. Because you let her off the hook.
No, I didn't. First of all, let me back up.
Okay.
Because I put the word Kavanaugh in there, she implied again the rape, which was still wrong. Okay, like you said, maybe it was an insensitive remark, but in no way, shape, or form did it imply that I embraced the rape culture or that this is about rape and so you think raping women is okay. She took that shit far left. I don't know if she had a bad day. If she's been raped before, I'm sorry, but I ain't got nothing to do with that. That's pretty much. So here's my point. When she was going back and forth, because I've seen her debate different people before, go on pages and shit. First of all, I don't have enough time in the day to go on people's pages and debate their posts. I don't have that much time for social media. So I don't know what you're doing. I don't know what you're doing, so do something else. But I didn't have time to go back and forth with her because we'd have been going back and forth up till now. And I quite frankly don't have that. I'd rather we talk face to face, not debate you face to face. I don't have time to be going on one post, posting 35 back and forth messages. I just don't have time for it. So the bottom line was, I did think about it. I'm like, okay, maybe the word Kavanaugh was insensitive, so I removed it. I removed the Kavanaugh part, but I kept the post up there. That ain't moving. I just removed the word Kavanaugh because maybe that wasn't sensitive. But the way she took it was so far left field. Was like, this shit is beyond the post. This is some personal shit to her.
Okay. Oh God, why I have to be the voice of reason? Okay. Did she comment it after you changed or before?
This is before.
Okay. I get the sense to the fact that since after what has happened, I can understand why she's feeling a certain way. I mean, I trust me. I know what you were trying to say. You're trying to make a mild joke, but to some other people, it's not.
But go ahead.
I think where she was coming from. I mean, like you said, we don't know what type of mental feeling she had.
Not my problem.
I understand that, but I think in this state right now, it wasn't funny to her.
Well, that's why it's called Tori Hughes' Facebook page, because I post what I want when I want, and if you have a problem with it, you're free to respond and reply. I mean, that's why they have the comment button. So I understand when you're on social media, you post stuff, you put yourself out there. I get that, cool. But you also, I also have opportunity to respond and reply the way I want to. Mm-hmm. See, I'm not one of these people on social media who can put it out there but can't take it. I can take it, and when I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But at the same time, we are becoming a society that where every tiny thing you say, not even what you do, we talking about what you say, has become so magnified that the illusion of free speech is gone. I mean, it's gone. It's gone out the window. You can't say anything unless you agree with the majority. If you don't agree with the majority in this day and age, you're just wrong. You're guilty. It's no longer innocence before guilty. It's guilty until proven innocent. Mm-hmm. That's the age that we live in, unfortunately.
Allow the intellectual asshole.
And I'm the common sense asshole.
Number one, Brian, that was some moist ass German chocolate cake bullshit you just did. Number two,
look, hold on. Before you comment, I'm gonna say, like I said, I'm not representing the woman. We don't have a woman on here to speak her mind or say the counter.
And we don't need one because this dude's talk shit.
I understand, but occasionally having a nice lady to comment would be helpful,
Yeah,
especially with this comment. So, but carry on.
So let me do the intellectual asshole thing here. Back to what I said, Brian. That was moist. Back to you, Trump. You were moist too, because you walk back. See, you can't say I said this and I can say what the fuck I said, and then some birds start chirping, and you be like, okay, cool, I'm gonna go back and modify what I said because it was insensitive. Because of the way, the way she lit a fire under the situation. Now, here's my thing. In this era of Me Too, Me Too was a movement started by a black woman. Once this shit in Hollywood started, it was co-opted by white feminists. And the mantra of white feminists is to light a fire under anything to make it brighter than it really appears to be. And what I have seen as a very off-using tool of feminists, no matter what spectrum they're on, is to automatically associate a man who doesn't bend to their will as somebody who agrees with rape, is somebody who, and then it puts you on the defensive. So as I showed you all this weekend, something happened. I'll give you an example. Bette Midler, the singer, Broadway chick, whatever. She went on her Twitter and she posted that women are the niggers of the world.
Wow.
She posted that. And I sat back for a second because I wanted to see what the response would be from the allies of white feminists. And there is the Chief Shea Butter. She's like, if you're playing a black feminist video game, the fighting game, you'll fight through all the different levels and you come to a boss feminist, boss black feminist. That would be the Jamila Lemieux of the world. That would be the Feminista Jones of the world. That would be the Issa Rae's of the world. That would be them motherfuckers, right? So my thing is, when you talk this shit where they talk about intersectionality, you know, the intersections of people's struggle, where, you know, meet at the intersection. When you start that intersection shit, what you do is you make a person in a different lane comfortable enough to jump in your lane and do some habitual line stepping. And because she feels so comfortable, she felt it was okay to say women are niggas. Feminista Jones, the Jamila Lemieux, they were silent, basically. I've been spending all this time jumping on the Bill Cosbys of the world, jumping on the Harvey Weinsteins of the world, when this white woman felt comfortable enough to say something about black women and the niggas of the world, as if we, you know, like who the fuck, wait. I jumped in her shit and basically said, you know, this is the problem with intersectionality. People get too fucking comfortable. People start doing shit and saying shit and just jumping out there out of their body. And you got voiced ass men who feel like, I need to hear you out. I need to hear you out when you write. I don't need to hear you out just because you talking. And it started a going back process between me and her. I'm like, where are the Feminista Jones? Where are the Jamila LaRue? Where are these black feminists who are always jumping at me and shit? Why ain't y'all checking this white feminist who done obviously crossed the line? And go back and forth. So I fight dirty. And I raise the fact that, you know, if you look at these black women who have this misandry towards black men, look at their background, look at their upbringing. A little known fact, which is the well-known fact now for those who are familiar with it, is Jamila Lemieux has a white father. He posed as they be like, he was in the movie The Spooks That Sat by the Door. And he was the guy that said, you know, I'm a nigga, and I was always gonna be a nigga, and it's gonna take a white man to shoot me in the back of my head because he know, unlike you, that I'm a nigga. This dude ended up infiltrating the Black Panther Party for self-defense in Chicago around the same time that Mark Clark and Fred Hampton was shot, were drugged in their sleep, and shot and killed. He joined the Black Panthers. I mean, he was in the Black Panthers around that time. Shortly after the Black Panthers disbanded, he joins the Chicago Police Department. What kind of fucking oxymoron is that? Where 1 minute you're part of the Black Panther Party.
Hold on. Where's this music coming from?
What music?
That's him.
Oh, I'm listening. I got my YouTube on.
Yes, this shit I'm talking about. He ain't even paying attention to us.
Attention to you?
This is the Moist Music Hour. This is the Moist Music. You know, putting it on the scene.
The Moist Music Hour.
Moist Music Hour. So I disclose the fact that your father is, you know, a white man. This is why you had this vitriol towards black men. This is why anytime somebody challenges you on something, the first thing you want to say is, you black men are killing us. You're the number one killer of black women, and you don't defend us for rape. So I started pulling out numbers because I love numbers. And I'm like, well, if black men are the number one killers of black women, in 2017, it is noted that 1,096 women, black women in this country, died of homicide. That is far less than black women who have died of breast cancer. That is far less than the black women who died of HIV. That's far less than women who died of obesity, who died of high blood pressure. All of these illnesses, you're saying that 1,096 black women who were killed of homicide, you magnify that and say, y'all the number one killer of us. Over 600,000 abortions have occurred in the United States last year. 39% of those are being African-American women. Bitch, you already admitted that you had 2 abortions. You got more bodies on you than me. So when you don't attack it from that angle, and you just let them light you up and put you on your heels, or you don't defend black women, or you're okay with rape. How did you come to that conclusion? How did you make that non sequitur argument that you couldn't have possibly drawn this conclusion? You got a white father, so why you always shitting on black men on social media and shitting on black men on your Twitter? I can understand that because you've never been raised to love a black man because you was raised by a white one that's posing. And then I threw out this other home run, like she did a DNA test, one of them ancestry DNA tests. Come to find out, she's 53% European.
Oh, so she ain't got no right to say nothing.
No, you ain't even in no position to say nothing to nobody. You 53% white woman.
Right.
But again, like with your situation, she jumped immediately to you think rape is okay.
You think rape is okay?
Instead of just pulling you to the side, say, that might be a little offensive.
Yeah,
you might want to have no portion now, but she immediately associated you with being okay with rape. And what you have to do is you have to be as equal an asshole. You got to immediately associate with, well, you're a single mother. Come out of nowhere with their motherfucking ass because what they say, 70% of African-American children are born in single-family households. Then go ahead and motherfucker, if you're going to continue to bring a knife to a gunfight, you're going to lose.
Well, here's my thing.
I like planet-killing asteroids.
Here's my thing. Here's the thing with me, and this is where I'm different. See, you'll go right in on the you can I don't have a gray spot. If I was to go in, I would go in. And to me, social media is not the place for that. Now, if you want to do a debate, you want to debate me, I'm not going to go up and down because I don't have time to type on my phone that long. I don't have time to type on the computer that long. We can do it face to face. She got a show. I would gladly rip you a new one on your show. I would do that, but I'm not going to do it on the social media post.
Because of course, when you do that, they stack the odds against you.
Of course.
They stack the odds against you going in, and they constantly find themselves moving the goalposts, which is a logical, is a logical, fallacy. Is one of the things is you move the goalposts. So you argue here, and then here it is. I'm at the goal line, I'm ready to go forward with my point, and then you move the goal over here.
And then she'll find something else to pick on because of her unhappiness with black men. I mean, I could go in on her post that I see, but I choose not to because that's her opinion and whatever. It's not worth my time to go down your post.
You are such a better Christian man than me.
It's just
still working on me.
Actually, you have more patience than me because I don't have the patience to go down and up and down because that's going to result in back and forth shit on social media. I just don't feel like it. Now, to her, she may think it's a victory and I made him do this. But really, it's not a victory. I just don't give a fuck about what you think on social media. Now, again, you can come on this show, we can talk. I'm not going to type. I'm not a keyboard gangster. You come on this show, we can talk. I can go on your show, and I'll gladly tell you a new asshole. But social media, no. This is not going to do it. This is not my form.
Well, here's another thing that I discovered, especially within this Me Too era movement, is in Trump, the president, said something the other day. He said it from a position of a dickhead, right? But what he said was true. He said that it's a very dangerous time for men and young boys because we're no longer living in a time where the presumption of innocence and proven guilty is the rule of law. It's if you're accused, you're guilty.
You're guilty.
And if you're exonerated in court, you're still guilty.
You're still guilty in public
opinion. Is proven to be a liar.
Yo,
you still have that shroud of doubt hanging over your head. So for that, correct, because I saw on social media a brother that's real close to me, he made a post about most young black boys' first sexual experience is with an older of age woman. And immediately it went to, why would you talk about this right now? Which I sat back and I looked. And I'm looking at this going back and forth, debating back and forth. I'm like, it's kind of strange that you as women will come to this. You want rape and you want sexual assault to be one way. You want it to be men on women.
Thank you.
There are a lot of men, black, white, Hispanic, it doesn't matter, whose first sexual experience when they were underage with an older woman. There is a reason you're seeing these white teachers, female teachers, that are being arrested and prosecuted in perp walk because she blew a 14 or 15-year-old in the classroom. That's not something that's an anomaly. That's some shit that happens. And I said that you all are acting just like whites when a black person is shot and they come on the scene and say, why are you talking about this right now? Why don't you talk about Chicago? Why don't you talk about black on black crime? No, the conversation at this particular moment is that men experience sexual assault as well.
And it goes beyond race, man. It's women and men, period. It's gotten to the point, as you said, it's no longer innocent till proven guilty. All somebody has to do is come out and say that you assaulted them and make it a real convincing story. And that person is the man is automatically guilty. And if it doesn't get proven in court, he's guilty in public opinion. So that man can't go out and get a job anymore. You might as well go to jail. You can't do anything else.
That's the danger behind the hashtag believe women. Because if you say believe women, then this man has an uphill battle. I'll give you a very personal example. I jumped in that conversation. I had an ex. I've told the story, so fuck it. I had an ex. We was having issues. I moved in, would have moved all my shit into her house. I had a strange feeling because we had faults, not physically, but we had argued. I left. I tell my brother, take me home. So when he take me home, I pull my goddamn it out. He like, man, what are you doing? I'm like, I got this. I'm going home. I had him drop me off at the corner. I walk down to the house. It's a fucking Datsun Sentra outside. Not a Nissan Sentra. A Datsun. You know how old this motherfucking car is, Datsun. Right? I go to the door, take my key out. The door is unlocked. I open the door. I run up the stairs, push up in the bedroom. This whore is in her bra and panties and she got this nigga laying in the bed with her, in his khaki pants and his white beater, his 7 to 8 tangle up gold chains, and a Jerry curl. So this is not. I'm like, man, you got to go. And he sucked his teeth. So I pulled out the goddamn it, chambered around. He jumped his ass up because this bitch is not worth getting shot for. He leaves. And she starts snapping. I can't believe you brought the gun in the house. I told you I don't want this gun in my house. I was like, fuck you. I'm coming back tomorrow. I'm taking all my shit out here. Because all the furniture in the house was mine. I go home. She's calling me, trying to talk. I don't want to talk. So what do you do when you don't want to talk? You turn your phone off. I go back to my place, my apartment, because I was moving in the process of moving. I got an air mattress on the floor, so I go to sleep. I wake up in the middle of the night. Boom, 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 boom. Who is it? Prince George's County Police. Go to the door. I ain't got none but my drawers. It's a fucking tactical unit in the hallway. Rifles trained on me. So the detective comes upstairs. He's like, why you ain't answering your phone? I'm like, I was asleep. And I turned my phone off. So he's like, all right, y'all can go. Long story short, she's told this man, made a report. He came to the house. For some odd reason, he went to the house, took the report. She says that I kicked her door in. I got a key. I kicked her door in, came upstairs, put a gun to her and her friend's head, make the friend leave, then tried to take some pussy from her. And when she fought me off, I left.
What?
This is what she tells him. But he says, it didn't sound right to me because when I came to the house and she said you kicked the door in, it was nothing wrong with the door. So he sees them, and what she's saying is not jiving with him. So he ended up, taking me to the station. Don't put me in no cuffs. Take me to the station. Go tell the magistrate, give me a no bond, explain everything to me. They let me out. He come to court. I get no processed. But in the process of doing all of that, before I could get it expunged off my record, which now it's sitting on my record that I had breaking and entering, burglary, assault, and attempted sexual assault or sexual assault or whatever it was. I can't remember exactly the charge. I lose my credentials in the field that I work in temporarily because now they see this bullshit. And I share that, and some woman comes and says, you shouldn't talk about that now because of the climate we in about women. Sexual assault is just not.
Who said that? A woman?
A woman says this.
But she'll gladly bring up something that happened to her.
Women do not have a monopoly on sexual assault. They don't.
No, they don't. No.
And so, we're talking about young boys being raped, and you're saying you don't need to talk about this now because this is our time. Me Too is nothing but it's either justice or it's a fucking hustle. I'm saying it's a little bit, not a lot, but a little bit of both.
I think so. I agree. Because you got the wrong motherfuckers who are involved with it, who have taken it left field and took the justice part to get what they can get out of it. Like, here's my thing. Like you said, sexual assault is not monopolized by women, happening to women. That's not true. I know a lot of dudes, and I have personal stories myself about who have been assaulted by women. And when you think of assault, you're thinking of somebody holding you up or sticking you up. No, it's not that. It's a totally different thing. My thing is, a lot of these women who come forward with this have some deep down issues with men. Some deep down issues with men. Either they're frustrated because they can't get one, or they're frustrated because every time they've gotten one, they've got dogged because they don't know how to select the right one. Or it's some deep down issues with a lot of these women who come out with these assaults with this angriness. For instance, I'm not saying this is her, the chick that did that on my page today. I'm like, where in the hell, even out of his name being Kavanaugh, did I, forget him, I'm talking about me, did I say anything about rape? First of all, and let me make this perfectly clear. I'm not a Kavanaugh person by no means of the imagination. I don't like the dude. He looks sneaky to me. But do I recall this dude being convicted of rape yet? Has he been to trial for these crimes? Has he been convicted of these crimes? So just because I don't like him doesn't mean that the other chick was telling the truth about everything. You know what I'm saying? But automatically you are associating him with rape. And that's what we were talking about. The court of public opinion. If this man wasn't nominated, and again, don't get me here thinking I can get two shits about Kavanaugh. But I'm looking at it from this point of view. If this man wasn't nominated, he couldn't go back to work. He's ruined. And he hasn't been convicted of shit. His career, everything would have been ruined because you're probably a Democrat who believes everything that was said and they made it a political issue.
Let me comment on what somebody said in the room. Somebody in the room is saying, Denise Young, hi Denise, is saying women are being assaulted daily. Nobody is disputing that fact.
Right.
We don't dispute the fact that women are assaulted, but you have to acknowledge that men are assaulted too. For instance, I have a friend. I got a lot of friends, so I got a lot of stories. I have a friend who has a son that's being recruited to play football. He's a senior in high school. Big, strapping young man. When she posts pictures of this son, you got grown-ass fucking women who make the most trifling-ass jokes.
I've seen some posts about, yep, go ahead.
Ooh, I want to go watch him play. Oh, he fine. You ask him, do he want a sugar mama? How acceptable would that be?
But it's okay because to them it's just.
How much do I have to buy if I post my daughters and grown ass men start talking about, oh man, she gonna be fine when I can't wait till she turn 18. I'm gonna tap that. But see, it's excusable behavior when women do it. Playful.
It's playful.
No,
I was just playing. Girl, you're gonna
that's
have
rape culture. If you want to call something rape culture, that is fucking rape culture.
A handsome son when he gets older, girl. But it's like you said, it's okay when they do.
That's funny. That's funny. But see, we don't get to address that. We don't get to call that out. We don't get to call women out on their bullshit. We don't. And again, we understand that women are sexually assaulted. Mm-hmm. But if you're going to have a conversation about rape culture, you're going to have a conversation about rape. Mm-hmm. You're going to have a conversation about sexual assault. Well, let's talk about all of it. Let's not just talk about the particular part that fucking affects you. Because it's disingenuous, it's not honest, and it's not answering the question. Because while you're talking about it, little boys are still being molested. And they're being molested by women. Young men are being pursued by these old dusty bitches who got gray hairs in their pubes. That ain't funny. I mean, there is not a motherfucking man that could joke at my woman. My oldest daughter is in her late 20s. You can't even joke about my daughter, and she way grown.
Yep.
So what the fuck do I look like sniggering when some man is looking at my 15-year-olds? Nah, you don't get to do that. But see, when it's a boy and he's big and he got broad shoulders and he got a big chest and he got a strong, handsome face, now all of a sudden we can joke about that. Nah, y'all do it too. And you can't be so disingenuous. Well, when we raise that issue, now all of a sudden it's something to be dismissed. Nah, it ain't nothing to be dismissed.
Here's my thing also is that this thing about like we talked about the public opinion, but then you also have this, man. It's like, what if you have a son and a girl comes and accuses him of rape or sexual assault and says all this stuff and all this stuff about him, and automatically your son is looked at as a rapist, and you like, wait a minute, she ain't got no proof. We come to the age now. Why even have court? Why even have a trial? Just as soon as somebody comes out and accuses somebody of something, just send their ass straight to jail. Why have court? Why have a trial?
Or they do this. You got daughters. I saw this. Yep. I really would hate. Your daughter was probably being molested by her uncle, but she see you defending Bill Cosby, so now she don't want to tell you. That is the biggest crock of shit. That is the biggest crock of shit because people react. If I see something happen to your child, I'm not going to feel as strongly about it as if it was happening to my child. So using my child is a little bit kind of fucked up. But what I do know is this. I know women are very protective of their sons.
Oh, yeah.
I know women who will take care of the baby when the son ain't. I know women who who will stand up in front of motherfucking cameras and say, "My baby ain't never hurt nobody." He terrorizes the motherfucking community. So don't tell me that when your son is accused of sexual assault and your son is accused of rape and he's standing there telling you, "Mama, I didn't do this." That girl is fucking lying on me. That you not going to believe him. You just going to automatically believe him. So that's the other side of that bullshit.
Yep.
Stop that shit too.
So how would you feel if they just came and arrested him and just sent his ass to jail? No trial, no nothing. All you gotta do is accuse somebody and your ass is gone. It's just pathetic to me. And the thing is, women and what it does is it fucks up a lot of shit for the women out here, for the good women out here of that quote unquote Me Too movement, who really are just trying to get justice. Than the ones trying to take advantage of shit. You know what I'm saying? The women have worked hard to be equal or to try to be equal to men and all that, which is a whole nother story. But if that's the case, man, then we got to be equal. Y'all want to be equal, then we got to be equal all across the board. Okay? All across the board. Because like TJ said, man, sexual assault goes both ways. And you mainly hear about it. Okay, I grant it. Maybe it happens more to women than men, but still it happens to men too. So if you want to be equal, let's be equal across the board.
It is documented. It is documented that men and boys report sexual assault and rape in far fewer numbers than women who report it.
Can you imagine? And you know why? Can you imagine the backlash it would be for a little boy to come out and say, or not even a little boy, we talking about a teenager or something, to come out and say he got raped by a woman. Because what do we do? Well, shoot, what's wrong with that? You know what I'm saying? Or as a man, you looked at from a woman's standpoint, as a man, you come out and admit that you got raped or come out that you were raped by this lady. The first thing they're gonna look at is how. You know what I'm saying? Or it's so backwards and it's so.
Look at Brian's face. Brian isn't agreeing with anything that we're saying.
Well, I didn't say it. Wait, you're saying that? I'm just listening.
Brian, I'm looking at your face.
I'm just listening to what you're saying. That's all.
Brian, let me ask you this: have you ever heard the statistic that only 2% of rape allegations are false?
Yes.
Have you ever questioned where that comes from?
Not really, because I feel that, again, these, you can't argue facts sometimes, but you can.
How is that? Okay, now that's exactly where I want you to go. Keep going. Keep going. You can't argue it's a fact. Now, what says it's a fact? Where is the evidence and the proof that the 2% argument is a fact?
Okay. They do research, but again, most of the research are done in a particular area. So, like they normally would say, like a university study did this, or whatever institution did a study on that. So they do those things, those type of studies, and then you get to the point where it's like, okay, sometimes they add them all together, divide it out, and boom, you get this generalized fact of information. Now, hold on. Like I said, you can.
You gonna make him curse you out?
Shut up, Brian.
He gonna make him curse. He gonna curse you out again.
There is no study on record by any educational institution, by any criminal justice institution, by the Centers for Disease Control. There has been no scientific study done that has revealed that 2% of rape allegations are false. It is an urban myth. It has been traced to its origins, but it is an urban myth.
Now, so you also hear me say that I said there are, like I said, universities do studies like this, and also there's institutions, and they combine them all together. Did I actually say a particular institution or a particular university did this actual study? No.
You did. I'm saying that there has been no study.
Okay.
Zilch, nada, not from the Federal Bureau of Investigation, not from the Center for Disease Control, not from any university or college, not from any government agency. There has been no study that has determined that 2% of rape allegations are false. That came from a woman, a white feminist named Susan Brown Miller, in a book that she wrote in 1975. That's where they came from. There was nothing that said anything about that prior to that book. And who did she get that from? She got it from a New York appellate judge by the name of Lawrence H. Cole, who drunkenly, in addressing the New York Bar Association, stated that 2% of all rape allegations are false. There is no study. There is no scientific evidence. How do you even figure that out? How do you even figure it out? Want to know why? Because not all rape allegations are reported, male or female. In prosecuting, when it's determined that a person is found not guilty, they don't go into investigating whether this woman lied or not. So how do you make that determination?
Then you also have to add in the fact that of the time frame. You said 1975, right?
That is where it comes from a book. I'm gonna find the name of the book in a minute.
Okay.
I'm gonna find the name of the book in a minute. Hold on, I'm gonna find it right now.
Well, while he's doing that, let's lighten up the conversation a little bit.
Just a little bit, please.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit, man. All right, so Brian, you first of all, I want to talk about the name of the book
is Against Our Will. It was printed in 1975. That is the white woman. One white woman says that 2% of rape allegations are false, and if you say something enough, if you tell it to enough people, if people are intellectually lazy and they don't do their own research and they simply trust what the fuck you say, then a lie can easily become the truth.
Exactly.
Okay. Now,
go ahead.
Brian. With that statement alone, like I said, thinking of the time frame of the 70s. Okay. Again, we weren't thinking that at the time about sexual assault. We figured a man could beat up his woman and nothing will happen to him. They wouldn't say any of those things. We were, the blaxploitation movies, you got Dynamite, pretty much, pimp slapping everybody. And he's like, considered a hero. You have those type of things out there. Yes. And those type of things there, pretty much a woman didn't really have a lot of rights. The women's movement back then was in its infancy, pretty much. So really, they didn't have a lot of power up until now, till the 90s, so to speak. So really, what you're saying, for her to say that like only 2%, you can say it's an urban legend, and other people say, okay, that can be an actual fact. But
how can it be an actual fact when there's no proof? How can something be an actual fact when you don't have a shred of evidence? You don't have a study. You don't have the documentation to support the statement. You just can't say something and then say it's an actual fact, but yet you can't fucking prove it.
Someone can just put that book out and say, "Here's my proof." You just pretty much gave them proof by saying, "Hey, here, look at this book."
Proof. I gave them the origin of the claim.
Which to them is ammunition for proof.
And this is how you know it's a fucking lie. Because it was 2% in 1975. It was 2% in 1976, 77, 78, 79. There's been no study done. So there's no reason to actually get the actual evidence.
Again, you have to look at the time frame. Because why would anyone be thinking about it? It's not as big and huge as it is now, where social media has pretty much fed into it.
When people say rape allegations are false, I laugh at them. Because within the last couple of days, within the last 7 days, 4 dentists in Las Vegas, I don't know if you all heard this, but 4 dentists in Las Vegas, a couple of them were brothers, found them a hoe in the motherfucking casino, took her back to the room. All of them beat the walls. She didn't get the money she wanted. She cried rape. What she did not know was that they had videotaped the entire encounter. These men were jailed. These men were recently released because the allegation is false. And you know what? That woman is not prosecuted. that woman will not be prosecuted. Why? Because the stigma is if we prosecute a person who makes a false rape allegation, then we will discourage
the real rape,
those real victims from coming forward. So if you're not going to prosecute them, there's no way of documenting it in order to say what the actual percentage is. The only thing you do is you exonerate those have been accused. You release them, process them. They don't have a trial. You just release them, and then it all goes away. So again, how is it that we can allow ourselves to have that 2%? I'm a victim of a false rape allegation. I have friends who are victims of false rape allegations. If you know any dudes in the military, they know somebody who was fucking somebody's wife, got caught. She didn't want to get in trouble with her husband, and she said it was rape. That shit goes on, even though women are sexually assaulted at a high degree in the military. Not denying that. Not saying that they aren't raped. Not denying that. But there is a lot of false allegations that go on. Black men have been castrated and hung in this fucking country forever. For looking at white women when we ain't looking at them. For whistling at white women when we ain't whistling at them. For having sex with them when they have an affair, or even fucking that man consensually.
I've seen Rosewood. Yes, I understand.
That happens in this country, and us as black men. While we just absorb the fact that nobody gets falsely accused. That's been our fucking story in this country. So how can you be so dismissive about it?
I'm pretty sure y'all have heard the story about that player, the dude who was headed to the NFL, and this lady had made a false accusation that was retracted, that they found out it was false. He still couldn't play in the NFL because of that shit. And that's what I'm telling you, the public opinion thing. The NFL still didn't take a chance. They still didn't bring the
I'd like to address someone in the chat room, Miss Gertrude Thomas.
Gertrude.
Hey, Gertrude, how you doing?
Gertrude. I haven't heard that name in a long time.
Why are you guys smiling and laughing while discussing someone being penetrated without consent? You guys are totally inappropriate.
This is
what we're talking about right now.
God, please don't tell me. Please tell me you making this up.
Without them coming and trying to set a fucking fire where it ain't no place you can have a fire. You can't have this discussion. You can't get Gertrude to talk about all these women who go into schools and who sexually assault boys. You can't get Gertrude to talk about all these young boys who lose their virginities to old ass women. You can't get Gertrude to talk about all these women who look at their young son, their friends' young sons in a sexual way and make sexualized comments. And when their grown friends turn their head, they're buying video games in order for him to come over and cut grass.
And just because you don't do it, doesn't mean it doesn't happen. Bottom line. So just because Gertrude doesn't do it or somebody else doesn't do it, doesn't mean that shit doesn't happen on a daily basis. Just don't hear about it. You just don't hear about it because it's the opposite way.
It just irks the flaming fuck out of me that somebody has the fucking audacity to tell me what the fuck I can talk about. What the fuck I can comment on?
Excuse me. Do you see us laughing at somebody?
I just explained, Gertrude, that I am a victim of a false sexual assault allegation. So you know what you can do for me on this Sunday evening? You can eat the peanuts out of my shit, bitch. How about that?
All right. So Lizzie Yazidini. That was uncalled for. That was uncalled for her to come in here and talk about we're laughing at. Just taking shit way out left field because you don't like the conversation that we're having. How about you come on the show and talk about what the hell? Man,
the sad thing is, let's put it this way. The sad thing is it's like we're having the conversation, and that's what we're doing is we're conversing about something that I think we have different opinions on it. We have different stories about it. You told your story, TJ told his, and those looking outside coming in, again, it's like, look, if they want to join in the conversation, that's great. But if you're coming into the conversation just to put out some crazy comment and not understand what we're talking about, That I agree
Yeah,
with
you need to
whatever
shut the
one
fuck
thing.
up.
That you stay out because it's like it's an A/B conversation. You can see your way out.
I know none of us on here are laughing at anybody getting raped,
Never
male
have.
or female. Never have, never will. So where the fuck did that comment out of left field come from? And if that has happened to you before, I'm sorry. Get some help. You know what I'm saying? We're not laughing at it. We never will laugh at it. But the thing is, there are people probably like you who take the shit like that way out left field, and a person who hasn't been accused of something, you're probably a public court will say that he did it just because somebody said so.
Right.
Rape culture is also not allowing men to have a voice in this conversation to express their pain and they express their experiences with it. That's rape culture also. So when women like to throw that phrase around, or you're just exhibiting rape culture, well, what you just did was rape culture. What you just did was try to dictate what the conversation men should have about their experiences. Again, I just talked about my experience with false rape allegations, and you don't want to hear that women do that. Mm-hmm. You don't want to hear that women stand in courtrooms every day in America. They lie about abuse. Mm-hmm. They lie about child molestation. And I hate child molesters. And I hate motherfuckers that beat women. But when you have the presumption of being truthful and you know you can weaponize that, some women will do it. And we don't want to have that conversation because we don't want to offend the real victims. You know what? They're not the only victims. Because again, like Trump said, when you get a rape allegation against you, that shit resonates through your whole fucking life.
Whether you've been convicted or not.
Whether you've been convicted or not, all you need is the allegations. The allegation or the suggestion that you did something improper to a woman can get you killed if you locked up in the county jail waiting trial. Mm-hmm. You don't have to be guilty. She could have lied through her fucking teeth. But just merely having an allegation on your head, it can have uncles and brothers show up at the door. What about that boy in New York?
Oh yeah, I heard about that.
The boy in New York who was messing with the girl, and the girl was living with the dude, and the dude found out from the text message or something that she was having sex with this dude, and she told the dude that he raped her. And he went and stabbed this boy, not stabbed him, he went and shot him to death. This wasn't the dude that got stabbed by the gang. This was another one.
Oh, another one.
This girl straight lied. Or the young actor Merlin Santana, who used to be on the Steve Harvey show, the one that played Romeo.
Yeah, I remember that.
The story was he was at a party. This girl went and left the party and claimed that he made a sexual suggestion to her. Went and got two other dudes. They came back. He's sitting in the car getting ready to leave. They shoot him in the back of the head. These young men acting on the believe women and believe this young girl. She was pissed off because he rejected her. He actively rejected her in the party. But she went and spun the story around when it told somebody that he tried to do something inappropriate with her, and now he loses his life. So
and you wonder,
women shit.
And you wonder why dudes don't approach y'all like we used to anymore. You wonder why. You wonder why? That's why.
You don't do the whole you're innocent, you're guilty until you prove it innocent. Why is it that a murderer gets the presumption of guilty and proven innocent? Why is it that a thief gets the presumption of innocent until proved guilty? But if there's an allegation that a woman makes towards a man, then all of a sudden I should believe her. So what is this dude to do that has his allegation over his head? He has to fight an allegation. He's not presumed innocent.
Nope, he's guilty.
Now I hate to do this part. I hate to do this part because this is a little run over for my show and I couldn't get this off on my show.
Save it to Tuesday.
It ties into this. This ties into this.
Tuesdays at 8 o'clock.
The Bill Cosby allegation. I just want to make one note.
Go ahead.
People through Bill Cosby, they say, all these women ain't got no reason to lie. These women ain't got no reason to lie. These women ain't got no reason to lie. Okay. There are quite a few accusers that have stories, right? But the one that caught my eye was this one. One of the accusers of Bill Cosby is named Sean Brown.
Mm-hmm.
Sean Brown is one of the 60 women that accused Bill Cosby of drugging and raping her. People that aren't students of history won't remember that probably in the late 90s, there was a Bill Cosby scandal with a young lady named Autumn Brown.
I remember that. Wasn't that his daughter or something?
Who said she came out and said she was Bill Cosby's daughter.
Mm-hmm.
Then she didn't want to take a DNA test. She ended up sentenced to 14 years in prison because she tried to extort Bill Cosby after the fact it was proven that she wasn't his child. After the DNA test showed that she wasn't his child, she threatened to go forward with the story. So when people always talking about those women ain't got no motive to lie, how the fuck not? What woman whose child was sentenced to 14 months in prison, who admitted back then that, and that's the only woman that Cosby admitted that he had an affair with. He was in a relationship with this woman.
Mm-hmm.
They said that these women don't have motives. And this goes back to this whole thing of you got to believe women. No, you don't. You respect the fact that she made an allegation and you investigate it properly. You give her the benefit of the doubt, but you just don't throw this man in jail because men have been subjected to false allegations for a long time, especially those men that look like us.
Okay, here's a question then.
And then we're gonna lighten the mood before we get
Please,
out of here.
Here's the question: should we have a limitation, or should we try to find proper investigation on lengthy allegations? Or we feel like there's, like I said, to have a limited date. If it's not like 10, 15 years, that's it. We're out. We can't investigate.
You know what? I personally believe that it's got to be some limitation. And the only reason I say that, and I know I already can hear it now, well, it's hard to come forward sometimes. You know, I can hear people saying that now, and I'm not, and I understand that. But for the sake of women and for the sake of this man doing something else to somebody else, it is imperative that if that happens, that you go forward. And if you don't want to go forward, tell somebody you trust and have them go forward for you. But this waiting, there has to be a limitation on it. Because whether it happened or not, the fact that you waited and the fact that you're saying, well, it's not that hard to come along, you're doing a disservice to women. If this dude is really a predator, by you waiting, you're doing a disservice to any other women who come in contact with this man. So if it happens...
I have another story. I have a relative right now that is involved in a case where a dude beat her ass and sexually assaulted her. And the dude's mother has been calling. He's in jail with no bond pending trial. He's done it to several other women. And he always gets off because the women don't press the issue and they don't testify. Mm-hmm. So my cousin calls me regularly and I have to constantly say to her, like, look, you need to stay on top of this because the next woman he might kill. Mm-hmm. And I had to put it to her plainly that if you decide to let his mother pressure you not to go to court, and you start feeling bad, and they let him out, he might not never say anything to you again. But he's a predatory motherfucker. Mm-hmm. He knows what's going to happen. Tell his mama to call. And the next woman might not be so lucky as you are, and he might kill you. Mm-hmm. In 30 years, you got physical evidence that's not able to be obtained. You don't have the ability to pull surveillance. Mm-hmm. You don't have ability to pull records to even show that you all were in the same vicinity at the time that you said it happened. Because maybe he might have been in Egypt when you said it happened. Mm-hmm. Maybe he might have been on a plane headed to New York when you say he raped you at the Playboy Mansion. I encourage women when they are sexually assaulted, when they rape, to tell somebody immediately. And in looking at the situation with Cosby, you have 60 women who told stories that's not corroborated with any fucking thing.
And you mean to tell me that? You mean to tell me that? And I don't know. And correct me if I'm wrong. You mean to tell me that 60 women waited to around the same time to come forward? Now, maybe I don't know if some came forward before that. So what that tells me is that's a perfect example. Let's say he did this to 60 women. Then if number 9 or 10 would have came out immediately when it happened,
right, it wouldn't have happened to anybody else.
It wouldn't have happened to the other 50. That's what I'm saying now, that women, instead of being angry at all these other men, take this as a lesson and don't wait. And if, like I said, if you don't feel comfortable coming forward, tell somebody you trust to come forward. Because if it is true and this motherfucker is a predator, a rapist, a serial rapist, then it is your duty to tell immediately before he goes on and does it to somebody else.
Or he bumps into your daughter.
Because you waited so long, and now you got a kid and he did it to you.
Or he bumps into your cousin.
But also
into another woman that you know.
Mm-hmm.
So him assaulting you don't have to be limited to you. It don't have to be limited to people outside of your circle. It can happen again. It could be that uncle that molested you.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't say anything, you will cause a little cousin to be molested.
Right.
You will cause one of the other children in the family to be molested. So I'm encouraged. I understand it's difficult telling me because you have we have a problem in our community where we don't take our molesters and we don't take, well, at least in the African American community, because in the diaspora, they cut your fucking head off and beat you to death. That's what we should do to our molesters in the street.
I agree.
But we also, as men in our community, we have to, because I was having a discussion with a brother and he was like, this goes on in the black community. I'm like, no, this goes on with black women in our community. Black women have a tendency to would prefer to shield the children away from the predator than addressing the predator. They don't tell the men because the men are going to go from 0 to 100. I don't know no man in my family that'll find out in real time that a motherfucker has molested one of our young girls or one of our young boys, and we don't beat his motherfucking ass immediately.
It's over. It's over.
Immediately. It's normally the women that say, you go ahead and about it. That was a long time ago. Or the boyfriend or the stepfather is molesting the girls and the mother don't believe it. That's just something we have to purge out of our community. So I don't like when people constantly throw that my way, especially the feminists, because I'm like, you all have a big problem with the male molesters in our community, but R. Kelly's concert is filled with black women. You all can have that much of a motherfucking problem with it. You still allowing him to pay his legal bills that he accumulates from continuously molesting young girls by going to his concerts and buying his fucking record.
But you know what I've heard? I've heard several women say, well, he wasn't convicted of that. They could just be, oh, really? Not so when you have to be a popular celebrity in order to be convicted, or a celebrity that you like his music, then now he has to be convicted. Anybody else outside of that, he's just guilty because somebody said it. Man, you know what? I don't even feel like talking about this anymore.
Let's lighten the mood.
I just think that, man, I'm gonna close on this. I just think that that we as men shouldn't allow ourselves to be bullied in this conversation about sexual assault.
I agree.
We have a say in this too. And ladies, I understand y'all have to deal with this with a bunch of dickheads. But you have to listen to everybody. You just, because then you're sitting in an echo chamber. You just hearing yourself and how you think over and over again, and you're not hearing anybody else. So allow people to have a conversation with you about it and quit going from 0 to 60. Because the minute you say, I can't say this or I can't say that, or because I feel the way I feel, I approve of rape, and I have daughters and I should be okay with rape, then you just become completely fucking insignificant in this conversation. And I'm gonna call you a funky bitch.
And number one, and I'm gonna close with this on this topic. Please stop making it the battle line of men versus women. When it comes to this, please stop making it a battle line of men versus women. Concentrate on those who are actually out here raping. Don't think every dude out here, as soon as a female steps up and says something, that he did it. Stop that shit, because you look stupid. You look dumb. You know what I'm saying? Picture your son in that same situation, and a chick came out, like I said earlier, and accused him. You're going to be like, my son didn't do that. Imagine if they said, fuck that, he did it, and threw his ass right in jail. That's what happens. So stop. Just stop that, man. Listen And nobody's up here making fun of somebody being raped and all that. Y'all, like you saying, you passing judgment, and you probably only heard a little small part of the conversation. You know what I'm saying? It has to stop, man. It has to stop. And that's all I'm saying on this bullshit talk.
Okay. I'll probably touch upon that on my show Tuesday. Brian, Trump has really dropped the ball on getting you that date.
I dropped the ball, but you know what? I'm gonna pick the ball back up because Brian is coming on. Brian is going to be part of my show on Monday nights. Not on air. He's going to be producing it once a month. So now I had time to actually invite some chicks to the studio and let them meet in person and see how it goes from there.
Can you invite some to my show, because B is since she built like a sea bag filled with Coke cans.
What?
You know when the Navy, they get out the Navy, they had them big green bags.
Yeah.
Funky than the motherfucker.
Okay.
Well,
it's not as shit in my house. God damn.
We about to end this.
No, we not, motherfucker. No, we not.
We're not doing a 2-hour marathon tonight.
It ain't no 2-hour marathon. We barely been on the hour because your motherfucking ass don't know how to get on time.
I was watching The Walking Dead.
Ain't that a bitch?
I was watching
The
Walking Dead.
Fucking idea.
Yes, it was, but I forgot The Walking Dead came on.
Y'all
so after I sent
you, Brian, this mother gonna say, y'all go ahead and start. I'll be there. Son of a bitch.
And look, and even during the show, I had it on mute, but I was watching it like this.
Oh, the re-air.
The re-air. So that's what I'm saying. We got to hurry up in this motherfucker. The re-air is getting ready to come on. So go ahead.
Oh, re-air comes on at what time? You said 12.
Hello, folks. There is a thing called on demand. It'll be on in like a week. If you could wait.
I can't wait.
What do you know about on demand? You can't have on demand because you got a shitty internet connection. So I know you ain't got no cable TV.
But I do have cable, so I have on demand.
Files. That's why my shit is so clear. Please,
good for you.
I got the good shit. I pay for it,
and that's why I'm moving. And that's why I'm moving out of Baltimore, because I hate Comcast. And the only thing they have in Baltimore, especially Baltimore City, is Comcast. Files don't come nowhere near in Baltimore, so I got to get out of here.
Well, it's because the streets always fucking caving in. They can't afford to put no fucking files when they don't know they're gonna have a sinkhole as soon as it rains.
Well, that's true. They just did my street. Did you see the sinkhole in DC a couple of weeks ago? Yeah, that was crazy. That was crazy.
I ain't seen no sinkhole. We had a couple of views tonight, and I'm glad you all look. Subscribe to my goddamn page, damn it. Also, I think we need to invite Denise on. She in the chat room, and she going in.
She going in on who?
That she did my show, but she said I cuss too much, so.
Cause you do. You filthy mouth. You have a filthy fucking mouth.
And?
I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's just, what kind of example are you setting for our damn children with your fucking mouth?
My kids probably curse as bad as I do. I just ain't called them. Yeah.
Well, look, I think that's it for tonight. So
let's talk. Brian, where can they find you? See, you about to fuck up. You didn't even do this on my show Tuesday. Now, Brian, you just sat here the whole time in your pink shirt.
It's orange, actually.
Looking like you got a little purse dog that you got to walk in a little bit. Where can they find you? Nobody is really interested in you, but I'm gonna let them find out where they can find you. Where can they find you, Brian?
For starters, I'm the producer of Eye Candy. It's every other Saturday. We'll be back on October 20th. The show I produced for Rip Monday Night will be October 15th. Get your drinking glasses, because we're going to bringing in an ambassador for Twin Valley Distilleries.
Trump loves drinking. He loves good drink.
Yeah, you'll love these drinks.
Or two. Or four.
You can find me, follow me on BTB Pics, Instagram, and Brian3SL on Twitter. We still yet to explain why the 3SL part. We do that at a later date.
Let me just say, the next show we have will be very, very funny.
We hope so.
I was going to be.
Motherfuckers come up and they see you two ugly motherfuckers.
Please, look at you. Good Lord Almighty. Come on now. But
Trump, where can they find you? Because this is on my page tonight. So
I don't want nobody to find me. You can follow at Rip Radio. That's why my shit is private, my personal one. At Rip Radio, follow that for all the shows and everything. That's all y'all need to do. You
Trump's Instagram name is I'm your sugar daddy.
There you go. Follow right now.
I'm your sugar daddy.
Follow
Look,
right now.
I'm on Instagram under TJ _ the Chicago Kid.
This week. This shit's gonna be next week. He done changed this shit about 20 times.
I'm actually up in I'm starting to be on Twitter more now.
Mm-hmm. Somebody called to cuss you out about this show.
That's my cousin calling from Arizona. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Twitter at Jokes Galore. I don't need no more people on my Facebook page because I'm worse on my Facebook page than I'm at. I'm also back on the air Tuesday nights from 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on my YouTube page and on the Rip Radio Network. And with my co-hosts, B. Johnson and Mr. Norman. We're going to have
For now, yes.
For now. We're going to have a more interesting show on Tuesday. We was like really fucked up because it's been a long time since I've been back. But we'll have a more structured show on Tuesday. And for all you ladies who need a man to call when your food stamps don't hit and you need some food in your refrigerator, make sure you hit Brian up. Nigga, he can slide through. You'll make sure that you don't even feel them stamps not being there.
All right, y'all. I'm out. Y'all keep on talking. I'm about to
I'm out because I'm about to go watch The Walking Dead.
That's what I'm about to finish doing since I got interrupted by this show.
Oh.
So
well, then we're gonna have to figure out another time to do it on Sunday because I'm a Walking Dead fan myself.
Well, we no, that's fine. We can do it Sundays at 8:00. How about that?
Okay, Sundays at 8:00.
Sundays 8 to 9 because that's fine because that's in the middle of the football game and Walking Dead, so that's cool.
Subscribe to my page. Subscribe is what I need.
I'm gonna need the link to this too. So, all right, y'all.
All right, y'all.
Bye.
Peace out.